So we have arrived in Ulaanbaatar. It is the middle of winter right now, so it is currently freezing, negative 31 degrees, I believe. We're about 2 weeks away from the Lunar New Year, which will be very exciting to be part of. I think lots of things that we're going to experience here will take place in our stay, so that is, really fortunate at this point. Just entering the city, buildings so different, just the sheer amount of people, and it's really incredible and it's really beautiful.
Still I call it magic when I'm next to you.
The city itself is quite small, yet has around 1.7 million people living here. This means traffic is a slight problem. It is officially titled the world's coldest city, and I definitely believe that.
So, the roads in Mongolia are a little different to what I'm used to at home. Starting with when we left the airport, and it did feel like we were going to get into an accident every few seconds. The merging is a little crazy, and you kind of just have to, when you're crossing the road, you kind of just have to find an opportunity and go for it. It was something that I kind of had to adjust to when getting around here.
Still I call it magic. You're such a precious jewel.
So the pollution in the city is pretty bad. When you look out into the horizon, it's very cloudy, and usually people are walking around with masks. And some parts of the city are so bad that it hurts to breathe.
The food has been something I've also had to get used to. Back in Australia, I mostly eat a vegetarian diet, so no meat. And obviously in Mongolia, that is almost not possible. So I have been indulging in all of the different meats, and I have come to understand that the heavy meat diet and the animal fats that you consume in Mongolia kind of helps to prepare you for the cold weather outside. It kind of gives you this inner warmth.
And if you were to ask me, after all that we've been through, still believe in magic? Well, yes, I do.
So we went to the Ganden temple, and we walked clockwise around the building, and we saw a goddess statue that spanned to the top of the building, and some monks and some Buddhist statues. We walked backwards out the building out of respect. It was a very interesting cultural experience, and they rung the bells to get rid of the negative spirits as you leave.
So we went to the Winter Palace, which is opposite a cinema, and it's an area with a few kind of traditional buildings built in the 19th century, I believe. And when you walk through, you walk into kind of a central courtyard and have a look at, there's a bunch of kind of buildings that branch off of that, and you can see a whole heap of different styles of art and painting in various buildings. And then you go around into the kind of the main Winter Palace, which is actually more of a European style and collects a whole bunch of artifacts that the royal family had from that time. So to get to the Russian Memorial, what's interesting about it is that you have to go first through a kind of very modern shopping centre with like a food court and I believe like an entertainment precinct. So you go into there and you go into a lift, you go up to the 7th floor, you walk over a glass bridge, so the floor is glass and you can see down to all the like rocks beneath. And you get across to a staircase that takes you up to a huge round stone monument that was put up to commemorate the way that the Mongolian army came to support the Soviet Union during the Second World War when they fought against the Nazis in the kind of Russian front line. There's a really good view from up there. It's probably like the one bit of Ulaanbaatar that like sticks up. And you can see very clearly off to all the factories burning out a whole bunch of smoke. And you can see the haze floating across the city. And then you can see over to the kind of the range of mountains that surround the city as well, which when we went, they were all covered in snow, looked really nice and quite dramatic. And yeah, you can see over the whole kind of city, which is actually, stretches out a lot further than I thought just by kind of walking around the streets.
So today we headed out of Ulaanbaatar and we visited the Genghis Khan statue complex, which is essentially a giant statue of Genghis Khan, but it's really unique in the way that it has a museum kind of like built inside of him and underneath. In this museum there's lots of artifacts around his life, just general Mongolian history and his time period, which was really unique to see. Obviously the view was just incredible from the top, being so high up. The landscape is just so contrasted to Ulaanbaatar. It is a completely different Mongolia. Our next stop on the road was the Mazalai International Snow and Ice Festival, which basically was a whole landscape of artifacts, slides, rings, purely made out of ice, which was a tourist attraction in itself, but also a celebration of the Mongolian culture. I believe last week they actually set a Guinness World Record there for the most amount of people going down an ice slide in 1 hour, which is really unique. But the artworks were just so incredible. The people that are making them are so talented. It's so beautiful. And being able to experience that was incredible. Our last destination for the day was the Gorektelj National Park, and although everyone was really tired and honestly really cold, I think this was one of the moments that I will never forget in my life. The natural beauty of this place is unlike anything I've ever seen before. We went right as the sun was setting and the colour pop was just incredible over the mountains as we climbed up through the snow to the temple at the top, which we got to go in. It was a traditional Buddhism temple, so used for meditation and praying.
All too soft for sound.
as the sun set, the view got even more beautiful. And for me, it was definitely one of the most memorable experiences and one of my favourite photos with the best story that I've taken so far.
It was crazy yesterday in UB. The traffic was horrendous. The queues at the supermarket were horrendous, and this was all about preparing for Lunar New Year Eve, which is called Batoon, where everyone just basically goes out, they grab their presents, they make sure they've got all of their unusual treats that they serve on the day, and they prepare for a big couple of days of just basically eating and talking and sharing stories. So Batoon, the Lunar New Year Eve, is a big time for the Mongolians. They will gather together as families in their home and have a massive spread of food. They will share greetings and wish each other well. That's really, really important. There's a couple of things they have to do before New Year's Day starts to finish off the year. They have to pay all of their debts. They must make sure that they're super nice to everyone. If they've been arguing with anyone, they've got to fix those problems before the next day. So today we went to one of the family's homes, which was awesome, and it was amazing. We got there, and first when you walk in, you must greet the eldest person there with respect, and there's a certain way that you do that with your arms. And then I think it was sniffing each other's cheeks, which seems kind of strange to us, but that's what they did. And then we sat down and gathered around a table, which had a massive sheep's rump on it. I'm talking massive, and lots of sweets stacked up that we could have, a couple of salads, and the milk tea, which was important to have as well, vodka, kind of like that. And what was the other thing we had was the biscuits, which are made of like curd, very pungent flavour, kind of like, I don't know, do I say it, stinky cheese? Kind of like that, but really interesting flavour. And then we also tried, which is a thing that they have usually at Nadan, which is in the middle of the year, but they did crack it out for us today, which was really great, and that was some arag, which is fermented mare's milk. Kind of tastes like probiotics. So it's a milky drink, like a light beer type of thing, but interesting, I don't mind it.
When the cracks in